Everybody, it's Mrs. Stephens again in her PowerPoint in her garden, pretending that it's not raining and horrible today. Believe it or not, this diagram here is my idea of how an essay should look. You have the top triangle is the introduction, the main body is all those paragraphs, and then the bottom triangle is the conclusion. Let me explain in detail. Right, this is when we get clever. If you see the arrow itself, it is, isn't it? It's pointing downwards. So think to yourself that this bit here is opening up everything I'm going to be saying. This is saying, look, here's my proof afterwards. I've answered the question here. My proof is coming. Interestingly, according to the exams, the introduction should be a short and purposeful. It should be roughly 3 sentences. This is where we are giving the answer to the question, and the key to a successful introduction is to not waffle and make sure you sound absolutely definite about your answer. Then the reader will be convinced from the start you know what you're talking about. Here's a very simple, basic introduction for Lady Macbeth. It's very basic, but it's to the point. It tells us what we need to know. And now we go on to the main body of the essay, and that's what represented by that big square in the middle of my diagram before. Here we're going to put all our paragraphs. Each paragraph has a topic point, and what would be really good is if you could link the point in the extract with a point from the whole text in each paragraph. So this would be paragraph 1. And then paragraph 2, we would link the extract and the whole text, and we do this with as many points as you have. So depending on how many points you have will depend upon how many paragraphs you have. And obviously, here we go, don't forget, cover all the AOs. To expand on that, I'm going to take an example of part of a plan from one of your Year 10 that submitted last week. So they took their first point and they chose to talk about the extract and how that linked with the whole of the play. And that was going to then make up one paragraph for them. The next paragraph, this would be the point that women could not be seen as powerful, and they linked it to the extract itself, and they linked it to the whole of the play again. So each paragraph is linking all the time. I know, AOs again. I know what you'll be thinking, the woman's obsessed. But I just wanted to make a few little points. First of all, AO1, when you are using quotations or reference to the text, it doesn't always have to be a quotation. It can sometimes just be summarising the text or paraphrasing the words or referencing one single word. And also, interestingly, the accuracy of your quotations is not always assessed. Now, when it comes to AO2, obviously one of the things we're always talking about in class is subject terminology, that one there. But can we just look at this text box here? This is not technique spotting. You're not just saying, here's a metaphor, here's a soliloquy. You're actually using the subject terminology to explain. So it's not a test for knowing really weird things or whether you can pick out the iambic pentameter, etc. It's stick to what's relevant. Speak about the idea of the soliloquy because of the importance of that in representing her power. I hope that makes sense. If you do have any questions, don't forget you can always ask us all. I'd like to take the time to mention a few words about Assessment Objective 3 context, because often we don't know how to firmly integrate that, as in link it into, weave it into our paragraphs. So as it says here, the context is a very broad term. It can refer to the text, setting, location, relationship between you and 21st century students. Text is part of a particular genre. For example, you can talk about Macbeth being the tragedy. This is an area that I want to try and help you to develop with. Analysing context goes beyond saying a Jacobean audience would have thought. Here is a much more detailed way of explaining and linking in and embedding the context. So the conclusion isn't quite as tricky as everybody always thinks. All you do is you refer to the points that you'd made in the main body in those other paragraphs and say, look, they prove my point. One of the areas that we all struggle on is how to start sentences, how to phrase things. So pause this slide for a minute and have a look at these suggestions. Now, you're all sent home with this study guide. If you haven't got a copy of it, it is actually uploaded on Moodle. And if you flick through that, I know it's the languages guide, but there's loads and loads of help on there of language to use, sentence starters, things like that. Have a flick through that. It's really useful. Yep, you will definitely find in that booklet some sentence stems for analysis, which will just make you think, oh yeah, I remember all them now. Find this page in the booklet because then you'll feel really smug about when you're trying to explain and explode quotations. Loads of vocabulary there to help you. And let's face it, who doesn't love a connective when they're writing an essay? Teachers certainly love seeing them. And that's it. That's my guide to how to structure an essay. Start with your introduction, point down and say, this is what I'm going to explain and prove. And then in the main body of it, you just explode all those fabulous ideas you had in your plans. And then the conclusion is like, yep, look up there. Look, I've proved my point. I'm brilliant. I'm fabulous. Well, we're all looking forward to reading your essays, Year 10. And stay safe, stay well. I'll speak to you soon.